important reminder. All information and ideas are for informational purposes only and are in no way intended as medical advice or as a substitute for medical counseling. Earthshift Products, Dr. Robert Cassar, all of their partners, affiliates, and subsidiaries will not be held accountable for the use or misuse of the information presented therein. This information is not intended as medical advice. The authors, publishers, and speakers of this work are not medical doctors and do not recommend the use of mineral-deficient foods, drugs, or medicines to achieve beauty and to alleviate health challenges. Because there is always some risk involved, all persons involved with the development and distribution of this information are not responsible for any adverse effects or consequences of any kind resulting from the use or misuse of any suggestions or procedures described on our website or Earthshift Live radio talk show or therein.
So we seem to have got something gone funny with the writing now.
No writing?
Oh, is it still like that? Oh yeah, that's right. You go to the next one, yeah. Every human being alive, isn't that funny? The only thing that's stuck all night is the highest places of power reserved for those in the time of great moral crisis who don't choose. Every human being alive today, modern or tribal, primal or over-domesticated, has a soul that is original, natural, and above all, indigenous in one way or another. You know what indigenous means? It means it belongs here. It's everything's for it. This is our tribe, our culture, our earth. It nourishes us, our life. Indigenous souls with seeds planted in the fertile wonder of creation. We're indigenous. It's for us. It's all there. Like all indigenous peoples today, that indigenous soul of the modern person has either been banished to some far reaches of the dream world or is under direct attack by the modern mind. For there to be a world at all, every indigenous natural thing must start singing its song, dancing its dance, moving and breathing according to its own nature, saying its name, manifesting simultaneously its secret spiritual signature. Isn't that wonderful? But in order to do that, you need to be centered in your indigenous soul. It's not the ego's trick with its body consciousness. The ego thinks it's the physical body living in the material world. The ego confuses us. It's a case of mistaken identity. If we're spiritual beings, we're spiritual beings. So we need to be having a spiritual experience within us and being sure about that. You know, like if the proof is in the pudding. The more you tune into that, the more you drop in through that heart-centeredness, through that single point of awareness, that soul consciousness, connect to it, to the eternal all around you, in with that love, with that innocence, with that purity, with that goodness, and meet those psychological monsters, because it gets a lot worse than lions and bears. And you know when you start having those internal victories, you start having these victories, and it's like not just one day, it's like keeps going and going and going, and then all synchronicities coming in, and you lift it up. This is what it means to live in grace. You don't stay in the same pattern, the same stuck, recurring, repetitive thing. Radical. Next slide, please. 2012 times the phi ratio. Look at this, Mayan calendar, there's the sun. We've all heard about, 2012, it's all going down. Well, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's going to be before, maybe it's going to be after. Who knows, really and truly. Because when you honestly check out the stuff, there's so much conflicting information. The remote viewers, one of my friends, Gerard O'Donnell, he's about the top remote viewer in the world, worked for all the military governments. He could be in this room listening to a conversation that they're having in Russia now, 300 feet below the ground. Tell you who's in there, what we're talking about, everything. General can. And the remote viewers can't see beyond 2012. The Mayans can't see beyond 2012. They invented the thing, it was all there, the whole deal. That's what they were here for. The Toltecs and the Mayans, they were here to tune something in. Frequencies, make fine-tune adjustments through their ways of being. It's a mystery, it's a wonder, it's eternal, it's infinite, and we are creating it right now. That's the game. But if you haven't got control of your inner controls, if all this other stuff's driving you, all these mad desires and all this, this crazy shit, what is coming? What are you planting in the seed? What are you putting in the seed? I'll tell you something about seeds. The soul's a seed. There's some trees up in on the northwestern seaboard of the northeastern seaboard of the United States, up in Maine there. They're bent all the way over. There's a whole line of them. You drive all the way up the road and they're just bent over backwards. Anybody seen those kind of trees? We've got them in Kauai as well. Big winds, big storms. The tree bends over backwards, and they all do all the way down. Now, what that tells you is that what happens is, obviously the tree is recording its experiences, we're recording our experiences. But if you take a seed from that tree and you go 20 miles inland, or take it to the mainland, or wherever, 100 miles inland, where it's perfect climatic conditions, no wind, everything's just perfect, rain, sunshine, beautiful, peaceful, is the tree going to grow straight, or is it going to go bent over? It's going to grow bent over for 4 or 5 generations. Now what that shows you is that you, the soul seed, record the impressions of your experience, even though there's the original, natural, what did he say, the indigenous vibrations in your soul, the perfect divine child of life that you are, that needs nothing adding to it, that doesn't have to do any self-improvements, it's already perfect and eternally is. Even though that is inside of you, the experiences that soul has been having through its multiple incarnations, if you are into reincarnation possibilities, let alone this one life, records the vibrations of all those experiences in itself. And then what comes out of that grows according to those vibrations, not the dominant, primordial, essential, eternal, pure, perfect ones, but the ones that have been first recorded into it. That's how it goes. And it says this in the Old Testament in a different way. It says, I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous and vengeful God, visiting the iniquities of the fathers unto the 4th and 5th generations of the children. So everyone thinks, oh, God's jealous and vengeful and an angry God. But what that means is life is communicating through whoever that channel was and saying, hey, if you don't stay in your pure-hearted connection with me, if you don't allow my grace to move you, then what's going to happen is you're going to fall into iniquity. You're going to get into discordance. You're going to start doing shit that I'm not into. It isn't resonant with my spirit. And therefore your children are going to carry on that pattern because they're your seeds. Yeah? Understand that? That's what that means. So we've got the vibrations of our ancestors within us. And so it's not just our shit we're dealing with, it's theirs as well. It's human vibrational discordance on top of pure beingness, perfection. Go deep in there, find that love, that purity, that innocence, and dissolve all that other stuff on the way down. 20-12 times the phi ratio means that Nassim Harriman, amazing physicist, he put the spiral of the 2012, the Mayan cycle. That you imagine a spiral, spiraling down to a point, and 2012 is the point at the bottom, yeah? And this is the big cycle of time at the top.
Big tornado.
Spirals down to a point, huh?
Big tornado.
Yeah, like a big tornado, yeah? There's 2012 at the tip, here's the top. I don't know, what is it, 25,000 something years?
25,920 years.
Okay, so nearly 26,000 years is this thing, the tornado. Now he divided that by the phi ratio. Everywhere the phi ratio bisects that spiral all the way down, those node points in our historical timeline going back represented something extremely significant. The rise of civilizations, the fall of civilizations, the birth of great messiahs, the birth of mad dictators. Everything hit those points, world wars, everything's significant on those points. As you get down into the tip of that tornado, that spiral, what happens?
They happen faster.
Those points get closer together. At the top, they're thousands of years apart. So it's like, oh, you know, this civilization comes up, it does all this shit, and then this happens 1,000 years later. What's happening now in 29 is happening every month. You know, we want to know why it's spinning out? Because the energy for the whole civilization to grow, to be born completely and instantaneously, so if you do have a look at the history, none of these great civilizations occurred gradually. The Egyptian civilization didn't just, you know, like evolve, it was whoosh. There it is. Now we've got all this stuff. Pyramids, everything. Where did it all come from? How did it all happen? Like instantaneously. That's the power that's coming into the mix every single month now. So I used to So 29 is every month, 2010 every week, 2011 every hour, 2012 minutes and seconds. All that energy. So if you're not centered, if you don't know where your soul is, and you haven't got a relationship with God through your soul, if you haven't got that electromagnetic, electrochemical, biophysical connection going in perfect balance inside yourself, what's going on? When all this energy is coming into your mix, and you're just in your little caravan, you know, thinking about what to, you know, go shopping next day about. But all the energy, you know, to kickstart the whole Egyptian civilization is coming into your psyche. I've been doing a bit of qigong in the mornings. It's a wild life. Okay, let's have another one, mate.